All right, I'll get started. I'm actually really glad that Justin ended with the Lassonde curve because I wanted to kind of start with the Lassonde curve and kind of point out where we were. We're a little bit earlier stage than there. We don't have a resource. We were not in development. We're very early stage exploration in Finland. Where's the button here? There we go. And we believe we're kind of in this area. We've made a couple of discoveries already at our on our Risti properties, so the Amarusko discoveries. But we've also got Launi, which is still fairly early stage. So we're just getting ramped up here. We're not proving up ounces yet. We're still finding the gold. Just a few things to take away from this. We are an early stage story, but we're a company that's been built by shareholders for shareholders. We are the largest shareholder block, so we're looking to help the stock run and move up with through to the drill bit, but without diluting shareholders. And that's something very important to remember because we're a little bit different than most junior exploration companies. But most importantly, the assets. We've got district scale with over almost 100,000 hectares in Finland and the central Lapland Greenstone Belt. And it's high grade. We've been hitting very high grade near surface, a lot of holes above 5 grams per ton and a number above 100 grams per ton. So to our ownership, we're fairly tightly held, 83 million shares outstanding. We've got about, as of December 30th, about 16 million in the bank. Management and board, as I said, owns about 15%, so 13.7, as well as some major shareholders in Kinross, Newmont, Eric Sprott, and very well held institutionally. A few things, this is a 5-year chart as what we've done. As you can see, it's been pretty rocky along the way, but 2019 we've been fairly successful. In June, we did make our second discovery at our Ameresco target with the northwest intersections. That gave us a little bit of a bump here. Oops. Right around there, which was followed up by a $5 million investment by Eric Sprott. Obviously, recently, we've seen a little bit of a sell-off here. Obviously, a little bit of results from last week, and add to it the sell-off on the market overall. Our management and board just wanted to add one recently. Kerry Sparks from Franco-Nevada joined us. He's only allowed to join one board, and he decided that this was it. So why Finland? And you've probably seen this slide before, but it is a major greenstone belt on the same scale as some of the major ones, Abitibi, Norseman, Wallinda. But what we noticed was the number of discoveries and deposits that are on all the others. You've got a logarithmic distribution, a few majors, a few big ones, and declining as you go along as to the number of deposits. In Finland, there was one, and that's Agnico's Kittilä mine, and then a few really, really small ones going on. So it was the right setting for major discoveries, and so that's what led Mike to come there. Also in the country itself, just recently, the Fraser Institute just came out, and Finland ranked number 2 again, after being number 17 last year. So great place to work, educated workforce, excellent infrastructure, great place to be. So this is us. This is what we were drawn to. It's a 125-kilometer shear structure. It's called the Circa Shear Zone. It's mapped down to 9 kilometers depth, so it's a crustal scale fault, very similar to the Larder Lake and the Porcupine-Dester fault in the Abitibi. We control this whole block here. It's about 80 kilometers of 125 kilometers. The red is our 100%. The purple is a B2 joint venture, and the green is Kinross. Need water? Sorry. Just gonna pour some water here. Yeah. Great. So Along this 125 kilometers, you had a number of showings that were discovered by the state-run mining company, about 40 gold showings that were there, never followed up on because the state-run mining company was exploring for GDP-related metals, so copper, iron ore, nickel. So all this data was put into a box, filed away. Our CEO actually went and did the work, saw this, and we're about 35 kilometers as a crow flies from Kittilä, but it's on a north-south structure. He saw this east-west structure and decided to stake it all. To give you a bit of an understanding, a little bit of a cartoon here. Here's the Timmins portion of the Porcupine-Destor Fault. This is what we control on the Circus Shear Zone. Scale is the same and very similar in geology. So what led us here? Big quartz boulders sitting at surface with visible gold. That was in 2016. We took a number of samples here in this kind of Amarusco area, which we followed up with up until 2018. So we've got about 5,000 samples over that average 8 grams per ton over this 15 kilometer by 8 kilometer area. And this is a bit of a promotion here, but you can fit both Kirkland Lake and Timmins within that footprint alone. Amarusco was our main target, mainly because we had 1,200 samples grading 25 grams per ton sitting on surface. So that's where our first drill program was. In 2018, after a couple of years of work, we made our discovery here at Amarusco Main, drilling 2.9 meters of 789 grams per ton. Followed that up with a number of hits around it, 4 meters of 42, 4.7 of 24.5, and this year we actually followed that up again with 3.5 of 22.6. That was in 2018. In 2019, we actually came up to the top of the hill here. Oop. There we go. Came up to the top of the hill here at Amarusco Northwest. It's about 1.3 kilometers by 1 kilometer of, and as you can see, the purple blobs are all the samples that we had in boulders. We had a little bit of outcrop up here, and in June we announced 28 meters of 9.5, 31 meters of 3.5. That led to Eric Sprott's investment of $5 million in the company at $1.50. We've since followed that up with another 11 meters of 23, 19 of 6 and 6.8. So what we've developed here, just at Amarusco alone, are at least 2 chutes. And we're continually doing work here, believing there's still more in the middle and more as you go to the east. A little bit of what it looks like. This is Amarusco Northwest. You've got this great shear vein that carries a lot of the high grade. You've got extensional veins along it, very similar to what you see at Kalgoorlie. So this is about 230 grams per ton. In here you had 50 grams per ton, as high as 50 grams, and in the sediments, even up to 5 grams per ton in the sediments. This is the main zone. As you'd see, very rich crack and seal quartz veining. This section graded, 3.5 of 22, and included 1.4 of 50 grams per ton. Very similar to mineralization that you see in Timmins or up in Hope Bay. So here's a bit of a bigger picture on the Risty property. So this is Amarusco, we've done all of our work. You've got about 3.5 kilometers in between that's got a bit thick overburden. We've got another property, or another target here, which is the Notches. That was 1,700 samples averaging 3.5 grams per ton. We're doing a little bit of work here. Did some work here, but decided that this was going to be put a little bit further back on the priority list because late in 2019, and it was late 2018 where they first set foot on this property here, the Lowney East property, made a surface discovery there as well. And it was followed up in 2019. 1,500 samples were taken in outcrop, average about 5 grams per ton. There's over 5.5 kilometers along strike and about 1.5 kilometers wide. And it's in where the surface shear zone takes a bit of a bend. And so we believe there's going to be a lot of fluid flow, a lot of opportunity to find gold here. This is what it looks like. So this is one of the quartz veins that are an outcrop, and that's what that led us here, because we're not looking for boulders and trying to find the source of boulders. It is an outcrop and generally flat and should be easy to access with the drill. The first samples here, were 130 samples, averaging an ounce, and then at Christmas zone 60 samples, averaging 7 grams per ton. So it was a good place to start. So we've since then, we've dug trenches, we've actually drilled. And this is kind of where the bit of the sell-off happened last week. We drilled our first 6 holes, and just to give a bit of context, that whole area is this little box right here. And so we drilled along here. We had a couple of hits in this parallel vein. It's called Big Blow. 3.5 grams over half a meter, 6.5 grams over 0.3 meters. So it was disappointing in the market. For us, structurally, it wasn't that disappointing, but the market didn't care. So we've since sold off pretty heavily. It's actually taken us back to before our discovery at Aurion Northwest. So the 30 meters of 3.5 and the 28 meters of 9.5 grams per ton. So the market's actually completely discounted this as well as our other property, despite it being only a very small portion. We're currently drilling. We're well cashed up. We still have, like I said, we started the year with $16 million in the bank. We're drilling at Lowney currently, and should have a number of results from here as well. We have been drilling through the winter at Amarusco, brought out 15 holes at the various targets there. So from Amarusco Northwest, the Gap, and I'll go back to that. So we should have a number of holes from the Northwest area, from the Gap, and from the main area. And that's all kind of in being assayed and being cut and logged as we speak. So in short, we are an aligned management team. We are, like as I said, the largest shareholder group. We are looking to make the stock go up by drilling and without diluting shareholders. We do have a district scale. As you saw, we've got 2 properties that are district scale and exceptional grade, all near surface.